Avallone.
Like
Yeah.
baloney.
But I would never have corrected you. I do not say anyone's name right, and sometimes I don't even try because I feel okay because so many people butcher my name that I'm allowed. I feel like I'm allowed to, but like I just never been good at like reading comprehension. Like my agent always is like, "You are the worst," and I am. You know.
We have a lot in common. I've been accused of having an accent that's intentional and misdirected, and basically I've kind of created my own island country where I'm from, because people are like, where are you from? Are you from this or that? And it's because I'm like, yeah, let the words come out, and you know what I mean? I'm like, it feels good, so I do it. It's my approach to pronunciation versus asking people about things like, how do I pronounce your name? Or I actually famously once worked at a production company that repped directors for commercials, so they were kind of the main big deal. And we would sign someone on, and then I'd send an email out going, hey guys, this is Mike McGuire. And I never asked like how to spell anyone's last name. I just go, yeah, McGuire, I got this. And I'd shoot the email out. And then it would just, the whole company was basically just a bunch of executives and 3 underlings. And they'd be like, oh my God, we just signed this guy. His name is not spelled McGuire like how you want to spell McGuire. It's spelled how he wants to spell McGuire. I was like, check. Got that.
Yeah.
I'm going to jot that down. Yeah.
I usually, like, will call anyone, hey, man, or hey, you know, just because I don't, like, there's certain people, like, was it, like, even, like, a name I just don't even like. Like, if it's, like, a name, like, I'm just like, I don't know if I want to keep repeating this name. Like, you know, and it's simple stuff. But there's, like, and I can't think of any ones. It's like sometimes like certain young people have like older names. I don't know. There's sometimes I just can't get a hold of a name, and so I just go, "Hey, this is so much easier. So much easier."
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
hey.
Yeah, it's so much more. No, so much more welcoming. Oh, I get it. Yeah. Like I don't know, like Avallone. I've got a lot of things, and even so funny, like even like at festivals. The only thing I get mad at is someone calls me Tony, because it's like that's obviously wrong, you know.
Unless they call you Tony Clifton, and then hopefully.
And that's fine. I'm fine with that.
Ollie, I'm glad you two are acquainted in talking about Mike McGuire, but this show's not about Mike McGuire unless we want it to be. We can pivot. Please introduce our guest to the world.
I know. You know, it's so funny. I'll just remember it. It's like baloney. This whole thing started because of the opener, Neil, because I want to get the opener right. Ladies and gentlemen.
You're a perfectionist.
I am. Well, yeah. I try. You know, in my mind I am. But more
introduce our guest, Ali Khan.
Here's our guest on World's Greatest Dad. Tommy Avallone, folks, is a filmmaker and storyteller known for his heartfelt, quirky, and deeply human documentaries. A proud native of Haddon Heights, New Jersey, Tommy's debut feature, I Am Santa Claus, explored the lives of men who wear the red suit every holiday season. He followed that up with Bill Murray stories, life lessons learned from a mythical man. He also produced the film Waldo on Weed, which tells the story of one family's medical marijuana journey through childhood cancer, which starts out as like really funny, and then you're like, oh no, this is like, this hits right there just to saying that sentence. In 2022, Tommy released I Love You, You Hate Me, a docuseries about the rise and cultural backlash of Barney the Dinosaur. Some of his producer credits include Ghost Heads, a love letter to the Ghostbusters fan community, and Andy Kaufman Is Me, which premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival earlier this year. But despite all of these illustrious film credits, Tommy's biggest accomplishment of all is his son Miles, daughter River. Tommy Avallone, welcome to World's Greatest Dad.
Well, that's fun. It's fun. Tell me what your life is like, you know?
What'd we miss? Any big credits that we missed?
No, I think we're all good. And there's a couple, but you don't want to say all of them. You know, I just want to state, like, I'm not sure if you guys are showing the video. Me and my son are doing no haircut summer, so I will keep messing with it because it's like long, you know, and it's like it's in that weird, you know, sort of I think Boy Meets World mentioned the Corey Matthews like in between stage. You only get but it's just like long, and so we're doing a no haircut summer.
What was the inspiration for No Haircut Summer?
Well, we just wanted my son to grow his hair long, and I was like, I don't know how long I'm going to have any of this, so I'm like, maybe we just have like one last banger, it's just like if you look from behind, it's like it's toting on for its life, So one
no
last
plans to go to Turkey and just kind of like hang out with all the men waiting for their fourth hair transplant.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, I know. I was about to mention names. I don't know. I don't know if I would do that. But I don't know. I have tried hymns. That's helping.
Oh. Sponsored by Hims.
Yeah.
How do we get that Hims money, Ollie?
I mean, let's just hashtag them. I mean, obviously, you mentioned Tommy's hair is, a wonderful byproduct of the
Tommy,
original
you're an inadvertent branded content helper now.
Yeah, you spray it. It's like it's a spray thing. It's fine.
Ah, okay. Tommy, welcome to the program. Thank you for agreeing. So we, for context for the listeners, I don't know if anyone cares about this. But whatever, who cares? It's our show. And Ollie, I don't know if I gave you the backstory. Tommy and I met when I was an assistant. We met on the phone. I was an assistant at the William Morris Agency, and tell me if I'm getting this right. I think you were trying to book Gilbert Gottfried for an appearance in a film at an event.
Yeah. I love Gilbert Gottfried. I could talk a whole podcast about Gilbert.
What did you need him for? I can't even remember. This was so long ago.
I was working on this things my friend wrote. It was called Calendar Girl at the time, but it came out as Miss December. And we, it was a scripted movie, so we throw in like these like, who can we get that's like local and like like a day work. You could like cast, you could like advertise off his name. So in that movie we had like Brian O'Halloran, Gilbert Gottfried, Corbin Burnson was in it. So just a big fan of Gilbert. It was like he played a cop or a security guard or something like that. It was a cop. And it was just like a fun little role. And, we weren't able to offer too much, but it was enough where Gilbert said yes, and it was an amazing experience because we picked him up from New York, and like you expect this like loud guy, which he's not that at all. And like he probably said like 5 words in the car. And then as soon as you yell action, he's screaming, yelling, and all that stuff. Takes all the food off the set because he's like, it's he just loves free food and stuff and I would keep up with him from time to time. I had his number and his email. And one time he was playing Philly, and I came up to him after the show. I was like, hey, he never remembered me, but like he was nice enough to pretend like he did. I'd be like, oh, we put you in that movie Miss December. He's like, oh, yeah. I was like, well, if you're around, I would love to take you out for lunch. And he called me the next day, and he's like, I'll take that free lunch now. So we picked him up in Philly, and this is right before – it was the day he did those like tweets that got him all in trouble. And it was weird because it was like – he was like it started to – people started to acknowledge that it was like a bad thing, and it was interesting seeing him like whatever, he was fine with because it was a free lunch that day, and that's all he had on his mind.
That is so fun. I didn't know that part of it. I mean, so a lot of those things align. Ollie, for context, the thing about Gilbert was he would take any amount of money, and so it was like to the point where like you could have probably offered him $100 and a ham sandwich, and he would have been there. But so he would famously, like, if he had a gig in the city and they'd give him like cab money to get home, he would say thank you very much, put the cash in his pocket, and then just walk like 100 blocks because he was very cheap, notoriously cheap. But also, you're making me realize, like, did Gilbert Gottfried start cancel culture? Because I remember when that happened, I was there, and like he lost the Aflac deal, and it was like a big deal because he tweeted about the tsunami. And then they used like a sound alike. They were just like, we'll just hire.
Wait, he tweeted about the tsunami in 2004? What tsunami?
No, this must have been like 2009, maybe.
Yeah. What?
We'll
there was Sandy Hook.
Sandy.
Okay.
It might have been 2010. I'm not sure.
2010.
Okay. Well, close enough. But yeah, no,
He
I'm
did
realizing that was
something.
like the beginning of cancel culture.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it depends though, and like you could throw dice in there back in the day with stuff. Like, people will always get offended by stuff, but like,
But did Dice lose, endorsements and stuff? That's kind
I
of
don't know if dice had endorsements.
Well, there you go.
I think the difference, and this is fascinating because you kind of get into like the, so much stuff happens so fast. It's been happening for a while, but the profound kind of eras we've had, where all of a sudden it's like, oh, I mean, because the thing about cancel culture is that we, as the village, with the torches, and the pitchforks in our hands, are the ones who are like, this is wrong. It's not like, a couple news outlets going, well, Andrew Dice Clay and Hot
Right.
Water, the oft controversial comedian, this is like everyone's raging on you. You know what I mean? And I think, given Twitter, I feel like, I want to say in my mind it launched in 2008. You're talking about in 2010. Yeah, this is fascinating stuff. Plus, Gilbert, rest in peace, did pass away in 2022. Big part of my childhood. I mean, he's just one of those faces. And it totally tracks that he would eat all the crafty. And he would totally, straight up, if it was a reasonable walk, like 30 minutes, I'd take the cab money. I'd take that. Especially if it's for a car, a black car, I'd be like, give me the cash. I'd rather walk. 30-minute walk in New York City, unless it's raining, I could deal. Maybe
I think
Yeah.
the rain.
Twitter might have been 2006, and I should know this. I just finished the MySpace doc, but regardless, Gilbert was just like a fun guy, and like he started that, and he used it, like he did the whole like too soon sort of humor, and he was very, very funny. And I would randomly see him, like, we played Tribeca once, and I saw him there. One time I was just eating outside, I saw him there. When I lived in LA, I was doing a friend of mine's taping. Like, they did, it was like a historical roast. It was like a Netflix show. And I was backstage, and Gilbert just walked by me dressed as Hitler, And I was just like, I just loved randomly. I mean, Gilbert was just like such a gem of a person. And like his documentary that, oh God, I'm forgetting the director's name, but I know Clay Teal produced it. God, it's gonna kill me that I forgot his name. But anyway, the Gilbert documentary is amazing.
Yeah.
So
go ahead. I was gonna bring us back. Are you bringing us back?
Yeah, and I think I just am kind of fired up for this because I don't know how old your kids are.
Neil Berkeley.
But
Neil Berkeley directed the Gilbert doc. I had to look it up real quick.
Good name.
Well, I was going to say, and this is actually exactly why I wanted to say it. How do your kids relate to you? Because I feel like you are really enmeshed in this kind of world, and I know the world too. I think we're similar ages, a deep like love, passion, and just a working knowledge of entertainment and stuff like that. And I feel like you can really go down the rabbit hole, so to speak. But you're also a dad. You did do the Barney documentary, but at the same time too, that's also going back in time for yourself. Like, I'm kind of curious. Like, I feel like you can go down, like I said, go down the rabbit hole. Are your kids like, what's Dad talking about? Where are you at right now?
Well, my daughter, both of them are my kids benefit off of me being friends with Santa Claus. Because I made a documentary about Santa Claus. Professional wrestler Mick Foley is our Santa Claus. Like, so he'll make these amazing videos and write these calligraphy letters, and I think they appreciate that Dad is friends with Santa, and they think that's cool. My daughter does know I make movies, and especially with Barney, she was way too young for Barney, but because of making the doc, I'll put it on, and it's so funny. It still works. She was very, I don't want to say the word addicted, but it was obvious that magic was still there, and she connected with it. So whenever she sees a Barney doll in my office, she's like, Dad, it's from your movie, So I think they appreciate. And the fun thing I like to do is we were just driving around the car, me and my daughter, and we're listening to this guy. His name's PDUSA. He's an artist I like, and we did a concert doc on him that's not out yet. But she was asking me like, what were some of the words? What do some of the words mean? Like, what do some of the lyrics mean? And I've never been like a lyric like person to like fully understand things. So I was like, oh, let's just text them, And so I text Petey, and I asked myself, like, my daughter wants to know what these things, and he explained what the lyrics meant. And my goal there was to show her that like being an artist or doing anything is like super attainable, and that like, they're not just these mystery people in a cloud or in your car stereo. That's like you could reach out to these people and ask them questions. And she, she loves drawing, she loves crafting, she likes all that sort of stuff. So I just like showing them that these things are like able to be done.
How old is she?
Cool.
My daughter's 5.
And how old is your son?
9.
Okay. Do you feel like 9's an interesting age? Because I know one of the most cherished memories I have with my son, and kind of related to, I guess, working in the entertainment business, was I was literally watching a rough cut of an episode of my show, and I just had the basically the QuickTime player or whatever playing. It wasn't like actual TV, but he was 3 at the time, and I remember he just put his hand. We were watching it, and I'm like rattling off about tater tots, and my arm, we're just looking at a laptop, so my arm's on the desk, and he puts his little like 3-year-old hand on my forearm, and like I want to say, of course, in my memory, like he glanced right back up at me, but that feeling I had was actually one of the most proudest feelings I've had. So I say all this to say, there's a time where he would be like, "Oh, my dad he's the host of Cheap Eats," and then like maybe 9, 10. I mean, cut to like 2 years ago, he'll be like, "Yeah, so like, you gonna do anything else? You gonna do another show? Or what's up with that?" So, oh yeah, oh yeah. So kind of, so even with the 9-year-old, well, I mean, that might be more a reflection of careers as well, but also like the mystique of like, wow, you do this, or my dad is like, it's like my dad, like I remember my son was talking to me, and the way he was talking to me was like kind of like if you could put a firefighter on Mount Olympus. He goes, "My dad is going to Minneapolis to make Cheap Eats," and I was like, "I already did that, so we have to go somewhere else." But the 9-year-old is still in awe of you. You're still on Mount Olympus as the guy who's like BFFs with Barney.
I'm in a different boat than I assume you are. My 9-year-old's autistic, so it's just like a slightly different experience.
Okay.
But what's funny about him is like he just loves like manly things. Like if there's like a bike that drives by, like he like stops and listens. He loves like trucks and like trash trucks and like just that sort of experience. So I never was very manly. I never watched sports. I never did any of that sort of stuff. So like whenever I do anything that's remotely manly, I do the Tim Allen grunt, because it's like my sort of way of pretending like I'm a man, and he'll do the grunt from time to time, and I feel like I did my job right.
So I guess that's kind of a truth, right? Like in the end of the day, like our kids relate to us on their terms as much as whatever we have going on. They're like, "This is what I'm into or not."
Yeah, like I never thought I would go and see like monster trucks, but like we go to the monster truck show and it's so much fun, but like it was never something that I would ever initiated, but it was definitely something that he was like into, so we go, and it's fun times, and we have the headphones on, and it's funny to see some of the kids, parents of the kids bring their kids out without headphones. I'm like, they're gonna get them, and like after the first like they go back up and then buy the headphones. They come back, and it's just funny to see that experience, But like, I used to live in California, and we would have like a Disney plan, like going to the park and all that sort of stuff, and we would go there so many times that my son, if we dropped him into Disney World from the beginning and told him like go Buzz Lightyear's ride, he would know exactly where it was. And that was like such a fun experience to see like him at a year and a half go to Disney and like being like, unique with the characters and all that sort of stuff. Like even before he's seen some of these movies, and then to like start like being really connected to them and giving them hugs and all that sort of stuff. So that was like me throwing him in my world because I love Disney stuff and seeing him adapt. And so we cross over.
You know, this is so refreshing because you're talking about monster trucks, going to Disney World, Disneyland. Neil's like, oh yeah, we're gonna like take our kid to see Wicked. He's always like, you know, Ollie, we're in New York City. You know, we're going to off Broadway. It's all like kind of like more like Frau. I'm like, yeah, Monster Truck, by the way, so much fun. Great.
We saw, I mean, Zeke and I went to the Hot Wheels monster trucks, which is, you know, like maybe like the kid version. It's not quite like the Red Hat version.
I don't.
It was fun. And also look, I'm you know, Ollie, like I'm highbrow, lowbrow. There is no. We will go to Shakespeare in the Park. We will go to you know, Farts on Ice. I don't know if that's a thing, but it should be. Because I think all art is, who cares? Like, you know, I'm sick of like the gatekeeping. This is worthy. This is. Let's just have fun. Let's enjoy. But I do have a question for you, Tommy, which is, you say you're not a sports person. Ollie knows I too am a non-sports following man. But you're a wrestler guy. You're a WWE, formerly WWF. Is this not sports? Is this not?
I usually say I'm not a real sports fan. You know, because, you know, wrestling, you know, it's, you know, sports entertainment, and there is, you know, so much more entertainment character, the promos and all that sort of stuff, that good guy, bad guy sort of theater that I'm into, you know, and, you know, when it comes to it, I love the characters and the story way more than the actual physicality, even though it's amazing, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because it's like
wrestling belts over here.
Yeah. The sports stuff that I typically like is like Space Jam and Mighty Ducks.
Movies are good.
Because it's a story, right? It's a narrative tale where sports is the backdrop for something else, right?
Ruin everything. Like, I used to work at a sports radio station. It was a rock station first, and it flipped, you know, and like, you know, Eagles fans are the worst, you know, and sports fans are people that I have a hard time connecting to, you know, especially when they go like, this is our year, you know. It's like, oh, well, just because you bought your jersey at Modell's doesn't mean you're part of the team, you know. So there's a part of that for me, and, you know, it's like I own wrestling belts, but I would never bring them to the the stadium, you know, or the show. But I don't know, there's a part of it with that stuff. It's very, I mean, like, I always think I call it Linkin Park syndrome, or like ICP, you know, or like I remember being in the Insane Clown Posse or like Linkin Park's first album and thinking it was great, and then the fans, I thought, ruined it for me, you know, like they're just like, I was like, I don't want to be part of this, you know.
Yeah.
Did you see the Juggalo documentary?
I did. It was good.
Yeah, I almost call it a morbid curiosity. I like didn't really know. I didn't experience Insane Clown Posse. It was more one of those things where I came across it almost like, now I think the equivalent would be flipping through Vice, and you're like, ooh, this is weird. What's this about? And it just really trips me out. Like, I was never a guy who was like close to being. I knew somebody who listened to Korn. You know what I mean? I knew like that one guy. That's about as close as I got. But and I mean, by the way, I grew up in St. Louis, but it does make me afraid of America, because I think of like the lost parts of America, and it's like juggalos. You know what I mean? Where, you know, we've lost all faith.
Dude, when they were signed to Disney for like a hot minute, and then like Disney found out who they were, and then like it became like a news thing, and like I was the right age at that time, where you're like, who is this band? What is this going on? And like the Great Milenko album is actually pretty great. But then you start seeing like the way the fans attach themselves to it or do that stuff. Yeah, I was like, a little bit. And like I've been on stage with ICP, you know, like because of my professional wrestling fandom, I'm friends with Blue Meanie and he's friends with ICP, and we were on stage spraying Faygo at people, you know. So it's like I've experienced it, and it's intense.
Is your son a wrestling fan?
No, you know what? So like he knows I like wrestling, and well, so is my daughter. And, it's like I dabble with when's the right time to introduce that, because like I don't want him to be an aggressive, like I don't want that, I don't know what age I got into wrestling, but like I was the right time where like I knew not to like start fighting people, so he's 9 now, and Raw's coming to Philly soon, and I was thinking about going, but I may not be in town. So like I was thinking about it, But it's funny you mentioned Wicked because, my daughter loves Wizard of Oz. So we took her. She was like almost 5. We took her to the theater to watch the movie, and it was like 20 minutes in, and it was like she's like, this is very scary, and I was like, all right, let's go home, But it was like it was one of those things. I was like,
Wicked the film or Wizard of Oz the film?
Wicked, the movie. It's like it's pretty intense. Like the beginning is all the flying monkeys, and like they're like glad she's dead. It's like
I know.
Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I should have watched this first.
Yeah, it's a great film.
We haven't got all the way through it yet. We're getting there. So.
Well, it's on demand, or I think it might be on streaming now. I want to go back. I want to go back. We got to go back because we've started in medias res. Yes, I was an English major, Ollie. Okay, you were a creative guy, storyteller. You were cutting your teeth in radio, in film, in indie film, and then you find out, oh God, I'm gonna be a dad. And I imagine you were joyous and also like, how is this going to work with my creative life? So, how did you react, and how's it been the last 9 years? Talk to us. How's that all? How do they all work together? Because you're not a guy who's just showing up, at an office, kind of punching in, punching out. I mean, you're involved. You show up. You're there for your kids, but also like you got to go to premieres and you got to go on shoots, and your schedule is kind of wacky, and you're a creative genius. Like, how does this work, Tommy?
It's a very complicated answer. Trying to think of how much I want to go into this. So my first daughter died, and it was a stillbirth, and that was a unique experience to sort of, at one moment, your life completely changes in that you think you're going to be raising this daughter, and then she suddenly dies. So that is something that's definitely changed the way I look at childhood or being a father at all, because it's something that was like instantly robbed of me and my wife, So that was my first daughter, in which case, if you look at any of my movies, you'll see her name throughout the whole thing. Like I always try to sneak her name in everything. When Miles was born, it was just like we didn't have like a shower, we didn't do any of that sort of stuff because we just were terrified. So it was a unique experience, and so I think in the beginning of that, there was an element of thinking it still could all go away, So like we built our relationship one step at a time. I wasn't one of those dads that was like, as soon as my son was born, I knew that this was going to be my guy or my best friend or all that stuff. It was a different experience for me, but I enjoy that I don't work in an office and they could see me more or less every day. Like, unless I'm like on a shoot or something like that, in which case I always FaceTime and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I like the fact that they could always see me, because like my dad was, would work a lot, or my mom would work a lot, like I had both working parents, and me and my wife both work at home. So I liked showing them the experience. I was actually even just talking to my wife about this today. So like I enjoy breaking that stereotype of what a father is. Like, I mean, like our fathers, I love my father, but like there was a different experience around that, and I like being home a lot, and we show them unique experience. Like we took the kids to the Warped Tour this year, and like, and seeing all these things, and like going to Disney a lot, going to Knoebels, going to Hershey Park, going to these like fun sort of events, and just showing them that there's like more than life than just like, you have to be somewhere and you have to do something and someone's telling you what to do. Sort of got off a tangent there, but that's the idea. Is like I just have a different experience than most.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Tommy, what was your daughter's name?
Clementine. Yeah. It's right there. If you can see it.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I mean, look, it's part of what I love a lot of things about this little program we're doing, but I mean, like the goal was and is, and we're still kind of learning, is like literally just to show the expansiveness of fatherhood. It is similar in many ways for all of us dads, and also like vastly different. That is an experience I have not had. I know Ali has not had. And yet, like I at the same time, like can relate to what you're saying too in terms of like the fragility of being a parent, and being a dad. I mean, like we're going through something right now where like, I haven't even told you this, Ali, where we're like, our son might have celiac. Nowhere near the same intensity of, what you went through, Tommy. But like, we've all, my wife likes to say your problems are as big as your problems. They feel huge to you. And when it's your kid, it is that weird sensation of like feeling fear and sadness and, anxiety for someone else or for, so like, thanks for sharing that, Tommy, because that is, fuck, like that is, it doesn't get realer than that, folks. We can fucking joke around and we do, and we will. But, yeah, I mean, that's the space we're trying to create, is just to be able to even like, thanks for just feeling comfortable sharing that with us.
Yeah, hopefully I don't regret it later. No, but like,
yeah, no, I hope so too.
No, it's one of those things where it's like either it's the thing that kills you or the thing that makes you stronger, and it's just one of those scenarios where, I chuckle at some of the experiences where people say like, oh, as soon as my son's born, I knew this was my life's passion, and it's like, that wasn't my experience, because it just was different, and my kids are my best friends, but also I want them to show that like I don't know if you were like, but my parents, like, I didn't remember them having many friends, like it was like very like family, or like my mom had a couple friends, but my dad didn't have many friends. Like I want them to show that there's more to my life than being a dad. Like obviously dad is top priority, but like, hey, I have a fun job that I actually love, I have friends that I like to like commit to seeing, and to show that like, that there's, a lot going on and that I'm more than just dad. And I think that's okay,
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
This is a little double-edged sword because, and I know you said it like, I don't know how far I want to go in there, but something that I thought was, interesting and I think generally important about this is, sharing all the parts of fatherhood, including the parts you don't always predict, like with your son and autism. Was that something that I assume you would come to learn later with developmental stages? And what was that like? How do you navigate that?
It was unique in that, like, it's still a learning process, and we're just, proud of every accomplishment he does, and yeah, it's not better or worse. It's just a different experience,
Cool. What's a typical? Is there a typical morning in your home?
Well, during the summer, no. 'Cause my son's in school, and my daughter, she starts like a couple dance classes coming up. But we try to go to the beach once a week. We'll drive down to Sea Isle and do all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, like, not really. Like, we went bowling. Me and my son go bowling, and I took my daughter bowling the other day to collectively. But like some days where it's like the early morning, like if he's at school, like me and her just went to that Elio movie at the Pixar one.
What did you think? Because
I liked it. Yeah, and my daughter was about laughing at me because I cry at every single Pixar movie. Okay. And she's like, "Dad, why are you crying?" And I was like, "It's just a good movie."
I totally agree. And I know the headlines were it tanked at the box office. I brought my kids too, and I was literally telling Ollie about this a few weeks ago. To me, it is a film about fatherhood because at the end, and it's about like shedding toxic patterns to be better for your children. Like, you're like that to me. That's what I don't know if that was the intent. I want to believe it was like, Gordon's dad, the warrior lord guy, was like toxically masculine, toxic masculinity, and then was like, it's not important. My son is more important. And I was like, what a beautiful message. That was my takeaway.
Yeah. I think that'd be any sort of parent trait, because there's like, there could be bad sides of any side of all that sort of stuff. But if you ever watch, you go to Disney Plus, Float is a great one. It's like a short, and that one's fantastic. My son loves that one.
I like Float. Yeah. A Float reminds me. Do you know Float, Ollie?
I'm writing it down. I'm excited. Actually, I've been on Disney
about
Plus
5-6
lately,
minutes.
so sweet.
It's a short
Very
one.
Cool.
You know what? Float. I have this story from. Our kids do bike to school, because we live in New York City, and it's there are a lot of bikers, but it's not always so bike friendly, and we're trying to work on making it friendlier for pedestrians and bikers, and so we'll all as a group kind of bike to their school. And I remember one of the first ones that my daughter did a few years ago. I would chase after them. Some parents get on bikes, I just kind of run along, and I remember I lost her in the sea of the bike, the school bike group or whatever, and there's chaperones and people in orange vests or whatever, and I remember feeling so terrified I couldn't see her, and then I thought oh my God, this is kind of a metaphor for what parenting is I know she's safe, I know she's in the group, I know who she's with, I just can't see her right now. I'm not 100%, and I was and that's when I think about Float, because I remember it was about kind of letting go a little bit, and
Well, I think in that thing, it's the kid was different. So, whether it's autism or whatever it is, and then the parent then being comfortable with that differentness,
Yeah.
So were you a kid that grew up in New York?
Me? No, I'm from New Jersey. So we lived in Edison until third grade. And then in the middle of third grade, we moved to Bergen County, North Jersey. Which is more Real Housewives of New Jersey territory. And I went from what was a very diverse, interesting, grounded community to, just opulence and affluence and, a lot of jerks. And it hasn't shaped me at all. I have no chip on my shoulder, Tommy.
Well, I just think how cool it must be to be a kid that grows up in New York. Because I watched that movie Kids back in the day, and that's I was is that what it's like? I can't imagine.
Yeah. So my daughter is actually she is a dealer in training. And
thank you for hitting it, because you're you're salivating over living in a Larry Clark script where
it's there's a free for all, It's
I mean, perhaps the city will be burning again. I know many people think it's going that way, and maybe they always do. Yeah, I mean, look, it's funny because it's I grew up in the suburbs and resented it and hated it and was I got to get the hell out of here. I don't know what my kids' reaction to their upbringing is going to be. The plan is to stay in the city, but certainly it is a different city than it was in the 70s, 80s. When my parents lived in Queens, my father would tell me that I think he had 3 company cars stolen in a row. And they were we're not giving you another one, because it was maybe the Gotti, John Gotti mafia. It was just the safety, in the city. People think New York is unsafe now. Whoa,
yeah.
Let me tell you about the 1970s. That was not just a film portrayal. But anyway, but speaking of growing up in the city, Ollie was talking about Wicked, I do love that, my daughter can say to me, over winter break, hey, I want to see Starry Night. And I'm yeah, we can go, let's go see Starry Night tomorrow. And we just go, MoMA. And it's, New York or nowhere, baby.
Well, it's just funny, we had this, it's a park by us, and, they have this, some, program through, it's like WHYY, which is like the sort of like NPR area thing. But like and they have bands come in, and we're excited because Wheatus is playing, like, it's like we're all gonna go see Wheatus, and that's as far as our cultural thing goes in the suburbs. But like when my son was in LA for a while with us, and my daughter was born in LA, but she was only there for like 11 months. She was like a pandemic child.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it was fun, like, for us to take him to go to these different things. And granted, like, our culture hits a point where it's like, obviously we're showing them different things, but usually it revolves around like, hey, it's Mario World or, Disney or something like. It's always like fun related, but like we always try to push for like these like fun sort of things. Like I have no issues with like, generated fun areas like amusement parks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are you where in Philly do you live?
I'm right outside Philly. I'm in a suburb of. I'm in New Jersey, but it's technically a suburb of Philadelphia. Because like the bridge, I can see it. Yeah, very close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can see Philadelphia from our window. So.
Yeah, sure. My wife is from Philly, and it actually is. It's so funny. When we started, I just assumed you're a fellow New Yorker.
No.
Working in film, whatever. But, Philly.
No. That's the thing about South Jersey, Ollie, because I had cousins from South Jersey. When they say the city, it ain't New York. Philly is their city.
I think New Yorkers are really, really funny. Like, it's like, like, what the funny thing about New Yorkers is, like, you can't give, like, when I'm like, oh, where are you at? Never an address. It's always these cross streets, and... Yeah. And I'm like, right, I don't know how to put cross streets into my phone. I mean, I'm sure you can.
Yeah.
But, like, just tell me the goddamn address.
All right. So
no, I love New York. I love New York. But, like, we would just take the speed line to Philly, hit up South Street, all that sort of stuff. That was our upbringing,
Oh, it's super close. My wife's from Philly, so I've been going there. I go there once a year since 2005. So spent a lot of time there. Spent probably 7 summers at the Jersey Shore. Another of them at Sea Isle. And I also know, being a food guy, like Philly's a pretty epic food city in its own right. Kind of curious, like, how do your kids take to the Philly food icons, and what are like the, like, I think people know about like the cheesesteaks, obviously, but what when you're a kid in Philadelphia, what are those iconic Philly foods when you're a kid?
And people love cheesesteaks.
Yeah.
But that was about like, Lorenzo's was like a really big pizza place, still kind of is, even though it burned down and it's like nice now. Before it used to be like, you appreciate the dirtiness of it, and now, and then, it's always like the gyms or Geno's or Pat's and stuff like that. Uh-huh. But, there's a lot of fun stuff in Jersey to eat. But it's funny, like, with my kids, like, we're barely in Philly, like, when my son was born, like, because you can fly these kids for free before they're 2,
Yes.
And so, he was in New York, he was in LA, he was in Austin, Texas for the South by Southwest. He woke up on a pot farm because we were filming Waldo on Weed, like he like had like this crazy sort of childhood of just flying to so many different areas. Like he's been to like more spots than some of my friends are like in their 40s, whereas my daughter, was born like March 2020, pandemic. So like her traveling wasn't as much, it was, if anything, it was just like Jersey, LA, because we lived in LA for a bit, but even that, like, we didn't start flying her until like 10 months, and that's just only because like, it was kind of unsafe,
right.
Like we made sure to like, mask up and all that stuff, but it was difficult. You weren't sure if you were even allowed to,
Right.
So you're good with traveling with your kids, for
some
something
yeah.
like we took a flight. You can appreciate this. It was LA to Philadelphia. My son was 6 months old. I've got a great picture of that trip, and we didn't realize it at the time, but this would be the start of probably 18 months of on again, off again sinus ear infections.
Oh.
He screamed bloody freaking murder for the 6 hours from LAX to Philly. I remember we were like so traumatized. I mean, we've had this human for 6 months and we were so traumatized, scars. We thought that the people at the that we get off the plane and the airline be like, you are never allowed to fly on this plane again. So, you know, it was, and my wife will refer to a lot of those first couple years as the quote dark time that I've shut it out. Then I've asked her again. She goes, I never said that. So she'll probably hear this podcast and be, she's one of our 7 loyal listeners. Shout out to Brearley. But she'll be like, oh, I never said that. But, you know, it was definitely, look, I took the deal. Financially speaking, we did it.
Yeah.
You know, we took the deal, the Southwest deal. But it definitely was hard. But it sounds like you had a pretty good time with it. You know, not a problem.
You know, it's like,
packing the kids.
I'm gonna kind of name drop here, but like I remember talking to Joe Swanberg once. Like, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with his stuff. But like I asked him because like I knew he traveled all the time with his kids, like from Instagram. And I asked him how he did it, and he's like, just gotta start young, you know, like get them like used to it. And yeah, the first couple times might be. I remember like because we lived in Jersey in the beginning, and at like 3 months old, we were like at Comic-Con in NYC for like the New York Comic-Con. So we drove him at night to Brooklyn, and for whatever reason we were in Brooklyn. I don't know why we chose Brooklyn, but like because like my knowledge of New York is still very limited, you know. Like I think I know where cool spots are, but I never do. But like we did that at night because he was sleeping, so it was a perfect drive, and it was super easy. But then we had to take a cab to the convention center for awesome, and it was like the longest car ride because he was just like screaming the whole time. And he wasn't good in the beginning with certain cars, you know, like he would like to scream all that stuff, but now he's a pro. Like it's so funny. He has his drink in his hand, his, you know, iPad, his snacks. Like he just knows what he's doing, you know, and it's so funny. Like he just, you know, both of them now are really, really good at traveling because it's like, I don't want to use the word they were forced to, but they were habited to, you know, because we weren't going to be people who wanted to be stuck in one spot. We want to show and do and travel, you know. So it was one of those scenarios where like that was a part of their learning experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to say there, too, I think for all of us, we all have the privilege of saying, I walked 3 miles in the snow to get to school, because we all had to live with traveling, get on a plane. How about a car ride road trip where we had nothing to entertain ourselves but the disgusting boredom that is actually life without the gift of download and streaming. My son, I mean, you know, granted, we did fly to Asia and stuff like that. But I'm literally, like, getting mad at him. Like, did you download your shows? Because I don't want you flipping out because the Wi-Fi's not good enough. Download your shows. They have it so good. It's like, ugh.
Did you guys play, like, 20 Questions or, like, I Spy with your families, like, on car trips growing up?
No.
Only child, I had nothing but like my toys and my imagination, and like, I was only child as well. Yeah, oh yeah, and like I'm sure, yeah, dude, you think my dad would ever be like, he'd look at me and resent me for like having like anything, but he'd look at me going, oh, look at the time you have on your hands. I grew up starving and with disease, and you get to like play G.I. Joe, you know, with your little imperialist army that my taxpayers fund. And I'm like, what's going on? We're going to go see Abraham Lincoln's birthplace home. I don't need the whole, that's my bit. We did that.
Next 5 minutes, you got pretty angry in this podcast.
I know. I just wanted to go there. But I mean, let's, like when you set it up, your son's he's all set up. He's got the drink there. He's got the drink there. He's
why not?
You know what I mean?
Like what do you expect? Like it's his time, you know. Like this is the time we live in. Why not do it? You know.
Yeah.
Believe me, my kids got.
Speaking of the times we live in, you know, we talk about sometimes. Obviously, we've all got these smartphones. I don't know exactly how many, but I'm going to guess I have like 35,000 photos on my phone at the moment. I delete. I make more room sometimes. But so you are a filmmaker. You're a documentary filmmaker, and your dad and you, I imagine, take a lot of video of your kids, a lot of pictures of your kids. Do you find that you're like, editing in your head or thinking, oh, what I could do with all these photos? Are you able to kind of compartmentalize? Like, are you thinking, oh, the film I'm gonna make one day about these last 5 years, or all the theme parks we went to?
Yeah.
Like, how do you shut off the documentary
I
filmmaker
don't.
brain? Okay, go tell us.
Yeah, well, it's always been a part of me. Like I at 11 years old, I stole my parents' video camera and filmed everything. And with my kids, like we have our Disney trip compilation. I made a movie called I Am Santa Claus, but on my one of my accounts I have I Am Santa Claus 2, which is it's a sequel, but it's just my kid with the Santas every year. So we watch these compilations because it's fun and I enjoy making them. It's like I think it's fun and love it. Even like some of the at the end of the night, sometimes we'll just like cast the pictures on the Apple TV and just go through the day, and like so I take advantage of all that stuff. And when I bought the new iPhone or my new iPhone, I made sure to get the one that had a terabyte, because it's like, I mean, the hard drive space I have of these photos is just ridiculous, So
Yeah. What's your cloud?
always been that way.
What's your cloud situation?
I don't cloud. I don't cloud.
You just have like big bricks? Like where do you store
hard drives? Yeah, I don't believe in the cloud.
Okay.
I mean, I have a cloud for my contacts because it's like just like certain things. It's like it's super small. But I don't put photos in the cloud.
Wow, that's interesting. So how many bricks do you have lying around the house?
I just have a lot of hard drives.
Cool.
I mean, it's kind of what I do. I have a whole drawer full of hard drives and stuff like that. And I organize them the way I like. I think it's good. But yeah, I just never understood clouds or the stuff in like, I just don't like. I don't want to accidentally like put like a wrong photo of there, like like I don't know, like kid throwing up or something like that. Something that's like I don't know. I just don't get it, and when things I don't get, I just don't do.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
It's funny too. Like I had to explain. Like I was talking to one of the co-creators of MySpace about how I don't do that, and he thought it was the most ridiculous thing in the world. And he's like trying to teach me because these people are like super smart, tech people. They've done well for themselves, and I was like, yeah, I'm just not gonna. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I respect your decision. Honestly, I was trying to see if there was something I need to know. Because there's
it's honestly too like you think of it like I just have so many photos. I can't imagine what that monthly bill for a cloud would be. It's like so much easier for me to just like drop them all off, put them on my hard drive. I think it's probably cheaper that way. And
I think you're right. I should probably do that. Tommy, what has staying on this theme of fatherhood and massive amounts of storage? What has fatherhood taught you about filmmaking and vice versa? What is being a filmmaker taught you about being a dad?
If anything, it's just like I think I'm just more in tune on behavior. Certain things too. It's like if I see them starting to do something that I did, I'm like, oh, I should probably work on that. It's like I don't know. I don't have like a good answer for that maybe, but I think it's just like, having to care for someone, wanting to care for someone, and then like just learning that behavior and that sort of like just thought process of things. I don't have a good answer, honestly. But I do want to talk about this though.
Yes.
What I've learned in the last couple years is that like the kids nowadays think dad rock is all this pop punk music that I used to listen to.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy that, for us, dad rock was like Ozzy Osbourne or like, Mike and the Mechanics, and like a little Quiet Riot or something like that. And now it's like Blink-182 or Green Day or like New Found Glory. And like I'm going next week to Offspring, New Found Glory, and Jimmy Eat World, and like people will probably consider that dad rock now. And like, what the hell? You know, I'm not trying to do my first small minute or anything like that, but like it's crazy.
You are a dad, and you are going to rock out to it. So is it not dad rock now? I mean,
Dude, have you seen that new show on FX, Hulu, called Adults?
No.
It's good. It's like I guess like the modern version of Friends. It's like these 20-somethings that live in the same house in Queens. And like I'm watching it, like identifying with these characters, and then one of the girls starts dating her old school teacher, and they're like, "Oh, he's old. He's 42." I was like, "Oh my god, that's my age," you know, like, and it's like it's crazy. Like you think you're still young, you're thinking these things are still hip or whatever. You know, I saw Deftones, and that place was filled up, and like I guess young people still like Deftones, you know. But it's just it's crazy to think that like time is just slipping away from us all.
It's completely true, and I can tell you, being 6 years into the future from where you are, Tommy, I am Gandalf. It comes quick. Like I just met some new neighbors the other day, and I was just like, wow. I'm thinking about what they're thinking, going, oh yeah, that cool older couple, they're cool. You know, that older couple, and I'm like, oh my god, because it's just like that. It is. 3 years, 3 to 6 years, maybe I'll give you 7. You know, but the big 5-0 is coming. I'm very curious about this. I understand that you are into Fuddruckers.
Oh my god! Oh, is that because I have my Fuddruckers cup right here?
Neil does a fantastic job of.
I do my research, Tommy.
Doing the work.
I know a few things about you.
And I mean, you grew up in the Philadelphia area, right?
Yeah.
So my wife's from Philly, and she'll always say like, "Oh yeah, we didn't have fast food. I grew up in St. Louis in the suburbs, and it was like, especially in the '80s, all fast food. And there was a road that was just rife with every chain you could imagine. I also grew up obese. Loved when I remember when Fuddruckers opened. It was truly one of my faves of that era." But you know, you're in Philly. There's so much great like food culture of the area. Philadelphia. Is that what it is?
I'm in the suburbs of Philadelphia. So yeah, so I'm ripe with Fuddruckers and Red Robins and all that sort of stuff. You know.
Oh, well, then we do have a lot in common then.
Yeah,
the old Robin. What is it about Fuddruckers? Tell me about that.
It's just it's I guess it's like it deeply comes down to probably something you can't have, right? Because it was 6th grade, and my friend invited me to his birthday party. We went to Fuddruckers and saw Billy Madison in the theater. It was the first time I ever went to Fuddruckers. So I guess I have this acknowledgement of like a great movie and a great meal, you know? And so I would always go to Fuddruckers all the time. It was in Voorhees, New Jersey, and we would go and go and go. And then one day they closed it down, and that's it. You know, I mean, the Turnersville and Voorhees were both done. So here was this place I used to like to go to, and now I can't have it anymore. So that's like step one, you know? And then next step was I start making these documentaries and I'm traveling, right? So I'm going to areas that are still like, you know, Sterling Heights, Michigan, or like whatever, like it's different sort of weird areas. So anytime I would travel, you know, obviously you're thinking about food, and I would always look, is there a Fuddruckers near that area? So I could like jump back in the time machine and taste that nostalgia, you know? And then, so I would do that. And then like years down, as like I would do this every time I would, you know, go to these different places to film. And I was like, I probably have a good record of Fuddruckers, you know? So I like started to make a list, and I'm at like, I'll pull it up right now. I'm pretty sure I'm like 33, 35 Fuddruckers. Hold on, it's on my phone as FudQuest. FudQuest. Yeah, I'm at 34. I'm at 34 different Fuddruckers. So much so that the CEO or COO, I can never tell. I don't know how responsibility works, but like he follows me on Instagram, And I've talked to him from time to time. And when they opened their new store in Washington, D.C. in Chinatown, I got invited to the grand opening. And I have my little gold pen, right here, Fuddruckers. So I'm acknowledged, and I got him to say on camera that I'm the world's greatest Fuddruckers fan. But I was actually thinking about this recently. I was like, there's one in Boston. So I was trying to do the math. I was like, I could probably fly out to Boston on a cheap flight. And it's like 25 minutes away. I could probably do a cheap Uber, go there, have the meal, come back, and fly back the next day. Because I would love to round that off as like 35 different Fuddruckers. But yes, I have a slight obsession. It's kind of a bit, but it's also enjoyable. It's fun to have like dumb goals.
What's the go-to Fuddruckers order? What are you getting?
It's the only thing. It's a cheeseburger. It's like now they have like the new places. The newer one have like different. They have wings now or hot dogs or like. I think that back in the day, Fuddruckers was super simple, and they opened it up to ostrich burger or like elk or different sort of meats, and now they have the Beyond Burger there or a version of that. But there's some stuff. But I always just get an American cheeseburger, half pound. And then you put the mayonnaise. I like putting mayonnaise on it. I do the ketchup. I get some pickles, and I dip it in cheese, and I have my fries. I dip it in honey mustard.
I mean, the beauty of Fuddruckers, beyond these huge, magnificent buns and the fact that they scale up, they're big burgers, right? Is the toppings bar, though. The toppings bar is endless customization, all for the same price. So that I mean, do you ever get wild? Do you ever get crazy? I mean, you can. I have gotten out of control at Fuddruckers.
Well, dude, when we went to the DC one, they were showing out some of their new specialties. I was like, these are good. So I think the last time I went to DC, I might have gotten like some different sort of burger. But like back in the day, like especially when I was younger, I would do like the whole pound burger, or like we do the ostrich burger. You gamble a little bit, But it's fun times. I enjoy going there. I used to have a couple of different Fuddruckers shirts, but I got some stains on them. So I don't wear it anymore. But like, I just think it's one of those things where like I often look for real ways to time travel, and I think music does that a lot. I pretty much filmed my whole entire life, so like I could like actually like be reintroduced to like myself at like different ages and hear myself talk and the way I would act and like how I've changed. But tasting something that was your childhood, like, I thought about this recently. Like my mom makes this particular dish, and I'm like, I almost like felt like a high off of it, and I was like, and knowing that taste will one day go away because she won't, always be around to make it, like killed me. But Fuddruckers does that thing where it's like that brings me back to like 6th grade Billy Madison and all that sort of stuff, and like my youth. Because there was a gap there where I didn't have it, and I don't have it regularly. Right. But
so you got a taste of that, how certain things are, the finality of things. I have to tell you, I have been around a lot of, like, real legitimate, fascinating minds about food, and this is probably one of the most interesting, poignant comments I've ever had, ever experienced about food. And, yeah, I'm completely blown away by it, but Neil does remind me that our time is winding down, and this is a dad podcast, and I want to get into another profound thing, because I never thought I thought you'd just talk about, how gluttonous one could be at Fuddruckers, but you said something so profound. Here's another opportunity for you to be profound. What is something, Tommy, that you want your kids to say about you when they're older, when they've grown older? What is something? Well, I mean, really, it's a question. What do you think your kids might say about you when they're older?
I don't know. It's funny. My daughter gives me such a hard time. Like I like to think I'm a good cook. And my wife would be like, "Isn't Dad the best?" And she'd go, "Well, Dad, everyone thinks their dad's the best." And I was like, Can you let me have this? And she won't let me have it. And we've got her to at least acknowledge that I'm the best dad in the house. So we've gotten that far, but like she is so funny. Like she's really smart in the way that she's like, "Well, Dad, everyone else thinks their dad's the best." I was like, "What? Do you think your dad's the best?" She's like, "I think you're great." but like she won't acknowledge that I'm like the best in her world.
You know what's
But I don't know.
funny is your daughter understands the premise of this podcast because everyone who comes on is the world's greatest dad.
Yeah, but yeah,
That's
so.
true too.
But she won't let me have it, but like I guess if anything, I just want to show them that, like, how to work hard and also but have fun, like that's like a goal of mine, I enjoy how hard I work in the thing I like, and I remember my parents is not enjoying their jobs and all that sort of stuff, and so many of my friends hate their job, and like I think if anything, it's like look for something that you can enjoy doing and you don't mind. Like some people, I've heard people go, oh, I can't wait to retire. I was like, I don't think I'd ever retire. Like I don't know how to turn that part off, and also I don't want to. Like I know how to take vacations. I know how to like go. I'm beat and I need time off, but like I enjoy doing what I do, and I would constantly do it even if I wasn't getting paid. I would have to figure out how to support myself. But
Cool, very cool.
Hey, so Tommy, I know we're running out of time. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna introduce a new segment called Brag About Your Kids. So you're the guinea pig for this. I'm going to put 30 seconds on the clock, and you have 30 seconds to brag about both your children. Use it in whatever way you want. You want to brag about one of them for all 30 seconds? Great. You want to split it 15-15? Here we go. Are you ready for this? And then we're going to head to the lightning round, and we'll send you on your way.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, so
Time starts now. Go.
What I like to brag about my kids is I just think they're funny and they're unique. I think both of my kids make me laugh in quite different ways, and I find it interesting what personalities they grab from me and my wife and what ones they don't, and how they're both unique people and unique individuals, and they just both make me laugh in completely different ways, and I find that fun.
You got 4 seconds left.
I don't need it.
Okay. Time is up. Well, thank you for bragging about your kids, Tommy. Ollie, are you ready to bring Tommy into the lightning round?
We are ready for the dad lightning round. All right, Tommy. Number 1, super strength or ability to fly. Choose one.
Fly.
Favorite movie to watch?
I had so many dreams of being able to fly. It's my thing. I remember when I was a kid, I would dress like Peter Pan and just think about happy thoughts. Like I was convinced, and like so many of my dreams, I'm flying, and like that is a goal. Rocketeer, man. So yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
To me, what I most got out of that was the fact that you were like, he absolutely knew his answer. To me, that's what this is really about. What do you call it, Neil? Is it a Rorschach test? I don't know. We'll get into the rest of the lightning round. Favorite movie to watch with your kids?
It's so funny. I just started watching Ninja Turtles 2 with my daughter, and me and her keep quoting. I tell her what my favorite lines are, and she's like, Dad, the part's coming up. So like right now it's Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze.
Heck, I saw that in the theater. It's the dog days of summer, folks. Beach, pool, or inside with air conditioning, Tommy? Choose one.
Let's do beach.
Okay. Yeah, not too far.
But we have a 3-hour limit. We can't go past 3 hours. That's our limit. We go in, we know what we want to do, and we're out.
Your kids start a band. What's it called?
I don't know. It'd be up to them. It's their band, right?
Yeah, I like that. Greatest dad of all time.
It's so funny. I don't know if this is my opinion, but like my friend Derek, who shoots all our stuff, and is like one of my producing partners, he talks about how the dad from the OC is like the greatest dad ever. And I just think that's so funny. So I'm just going to steal his answer, even though I don't necessarily know if I believe it or not. But like, it's just the first thing that popped in my head because he says it all the time. Because I just watched the OC for the first time. So yeah.
All right, I love that answer. That's definitely, usually we have to pry into something that's from like TV, but I love that you just chose TV over a real world example.
I didn't even think of it as real world as an example, like a possibility.
You know
so
what?
much my world's in pop culture.
Exact. Well, there you go. Super Mario or Sonic the Hedgehog?
Mario.
I also like the pronunciation of it.
Yeah,
Best
well,
kids.
so my agent will tell me that too, like, because my agent always makes fun of me about like the way I pronounce things and all that stuff, and he's like, it's actually Mario. I was like, well, he's Italian and it's East Coast. It's Mario.
You know what?
My wife gives me shit about the Mario thing too, because I grew up saying Mario, but yeah.
Yeah, it's Mario.
My old manager would say
That's
Mario
ours.
too.
That's mine. Italian.
Yeah. Best kids show on TV right now.
You know, I guess I'll go with Bluey. You know, because my daughter really is into Bluey, and my friend Charlie, who shot MySpace, is like all obsessed with Bluey. So I'll go with Bluey.
Okay. All right. This is summer shoe wear. Crocs or Tevas?
I don't know what the second one is, but I would never wear a Croc. So.
Okay. I mean, Tevas are like. They're like sandals for mountain climbers. They have Velcro straps. Yeah, it's they didn't age well fashion wise. Parenting motto in 5 words or less.
Oh, man. How do you do that with lightning? Show everyone fun.
Yeah, it's good. Favorite book to read with your kids?
Everyone a lot of fun.
If 5 or less, you were fine. Okay. Favorite book to read with your kids?
Yeah, we did those the pigeon books. Like those were a lot of fun. Or the Harold and Piggy. Those were a lot of fun. But I'm a sucker for Calvin Hobbes, so I haven't read that to them at all yet. But yeah, the Piggy and Elephant were good ones.
I have to say, I totally acknowledged Hobbes in your background, and I saved all my Calvin and Hobbes books. I had almost all of them, and I remember giving them to my son and for him to check out. And generally speaking, I think when I think about some of the best quotes from Bill Watterson, it really actually helps me kind of like relish just watching my son grow up too. Yeah. Calvin Hobbes.
There's a great doc my friend Joel made called Dear Mr. Watterson.
I love that doc. Love it.
Yeah, I'm in it.
Huge. Seriously? Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I like that too.
That's so okay. Very cool, man. Yeah. All right. Fine question, Neil. This is a fine one. Sedan or minivan?
Oh, I don't know. My wife was all about the minivan. She loves that stuff. I'm not a car person at all, so I couldn't care less.
East Coast. East Coast. Favorite thing to cook for your kids? I know you like to get down in the kitchen.
Oh, well, you know, usually the crowd favorite's usually spaghetti and meatballs, and I get them to roll the meatballs with me, so I do that.
I might have to. I'm going to ask for your meatball recipe. You strike me as a man who might have some history with that dish. Go-to spot in Philly for a family day out.
Oh, I wouldn't. We don't really go to Philly too much, you know. But we do when we go to the beach, though. What's fun is like we pick Sea Isle because we park at the library and it's free and there's a bathroom there. So you park, you go to the bathroom, you walk to the beach. It's only a couple blocks away. They have iced coffee on the beach, which is amazing. Outside of like the ice cream and all that sort of stuff, you come back. Go to the bathroom right before you leave. Free parking, not trying to find anything. So that's what I would say about Seattle City right now.
I have to tell you, I think it's Giovanni's Delicatessen was a place I quite liked in Sea Isle, and Berardi Brothers. More for the cheesesteak, actually. They're great guys. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. The ultimate question for the region. Cheesesteaks or hoagies? You like that? Did I say it right?
Well, it's so funny. So, like, I say hoagie, you know, but, like, I think more upper Pennsylvania might do the hoagie, you know, like the upper Darby. Sort of, no, not upper Darby. Like Delco. Delco will do the hoagie sort of thing.
Hoagie,
but,
yeah.
If push comes to shove, I'd probably pick a cheesesteak first. Although I've been really into, like, just making my own sort of, like, cheese and salami hoagies. You know, just the bread. Yeah.
For the cheesesteak, are you a whiz? Do you like yellow American, white American, or provolone?
I don't have an issue on the color, but I'm going to do an American for sure.
Okay.
Got it. I like putting mayonnaise in my stuff, so I'm always about the mayonnaise with meat.
Wow, there's some controversy around mayonnaise and cheesesteak, but I
You know the
get it.
controversy that I don't like is like when people make fun of like pineapple on pizza, and I'm all about the Hawaiian pizza. I'm all about it.
I think it, like anything, it can be done well. I think with pineapple pizza, when people hate it, it's because generally speaking, the pizza was a failure, and
Sure.
all the pizza there probably sucked. I think it's like yeah, but it can be done well. It's
Yeah, for
challenging.
sure.
All right, last one for the lightning round. Tommy, best part about being a dad.
Uh, just being there. I love being there for them. I love showing them that I can be there and I'm always there. And that's just fun, you know? Like every once in a while, like I think of this one Henry Winkler quote where he's like, and I don't know him, I just heard it on some podcast. It was like, sometimes you're like rushed and you're hurry, you're in your head, you're in your own life, and they'll just ask something of you, and you just know you're too busy for it. But just to give them that extra second, like it's like you could be late, or this other thing could wait for a second, and like giving them that time, which is sometimes harder to do, but like I think giving them that second and that FaceTime and like to the level is really much more important than whatever you're about to do. With that said, I have to go pick up my son from the thing. We actually hit the mark where I will be late if I wait one more minute.
Tommy Avallone, you are the world's greatest dad. Thank you for
Oh,
being
thank
here.
you.
Thank you. Thank
Tell
you.
my daughter to tell me that.